I go for all sharing the privileges of the government, who assist in bearing its burdens. Consequently, I go for admitting all whites to the right of suffrage, who pay taxes or bear arms, by no means excluding females. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend James Speed. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in universal suffrage. He argued that all people who contribute to society should have a voice in government. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in that we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save, or meanly lose, the last best hope of earth. This quote is from Lincoln's second inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that by freeing the slaves, the United States would be ensuring its own freedom. He argued that slavery was a threat to the freedom of all Americans, both black and white. He also argued that the Civil War was a fight for the principles of democracy and freedom, and that the United States would be nobly saved if it won the war and preserved these principles. With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh I should die. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed. It is a statement of Lincoln's resilience in the face of great challenges. He was under enormous pressure as president during the Civil War, but he found ways to cope with the stress, including by laughing. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that patriotism is more important than religious faith. He argued that true patriotism is based on love of country and a commitment to its principles, while the wrong kind of piety is based on blind obedience to authority. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. This quote is from Lincoln's first inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's humble origins. He was born into a poor family in Kentucky, and he never forgot his humble beginnings. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his law partner, William Herndon. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of hard work. He argued that diligence is essential for success in any field. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side. This quote is from Lincoln's second inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's faith in God. He believed that God was on the side of the right, but he also believed that it was up to humans to do the right thing. There is another old poet whose name I do not now remember who said, "Truth is the daughter of time." This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the power of truth. He argued that truth eventually prevails, even if it takes time. If I were to try to read, much less answer, all the attacks made on me, this shop might as well be closed for any other business. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his law partner, William Herndon. It is a statement of Lincoln's determination to focus on his work. He refused to let the attacks of his critics distract him from his duty as president. Knavery and flattery are blood relations. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that flattery and dishonesty are often connected. He argued that people who flatter others are often trying to deceive them. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed. It is a statement of Lincoln's determination to stay true to his principles. He knew that he would face opposition from many people, but he was determined to do what he believed was right. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed in 1855. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of the Constitution. He argued that the Constitution is the foundation of American democracy, and that it must be protected at all costs. No policy that does not rest upon some philosophical public opinion can be permanently maintained. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that public policy must be based on the consent of the governed. He argued that any policy that is not supported by the people will eventually fail. That I am not a member of any Christian church is true, but I have never denied the truth of the scriptures, and I have never spoken with intentional disrespect of religion in general, or of any denomination of Christians in particular. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to a group of ministers in 1863. It is a statement of Lincoln's personal religious beliefs. He argued that he is a Christian, but he does not belong to any particular church. He also argued that he has never disrespected religion. Republicans are for both the man and the dollar, but in case of conflict the man before the dollar. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of human rights. He argued that the Republican Party is committed to protecting the rights of all people, regardless of their economic status. It was that which gave promise that in due time the weights should be lifted from the shoulders of all men, and that all should have an equal chance. This is the sentiment embodied in that Declaration of Independence. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. He argued that the Declaration promises that all people are created equal, and that they should have an equal chance to succeed. If a man had more than one life, I think a little hanging would not hurt this one, but after he is once dead, we cannot bring him back, no matter how sorry we may be, so the boy shall be pardoned. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to the governor of Illinois in 1860. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of mercy. He argued that even criminals deserve a second chance, and that we should not take their lives lightly. To give victory to the right, not bloody bullets, but peaceful ballots only, are necessary. This quote is from Lincoln's first inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the power of democracy. He argued that the best way to achieve justice is through peaceful means, such as voting and elections. I should like to know if, taking this old Declaration of Independence, which declares that all men are equal upon principle, you begin making exceptions to it, where will you stop? If one man says it does not mean a Negro, why not another say it does not mean some other man? This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the equality of all people. He argued that the Declaration of Independence applies to all people, regardless of their race or ethnicity. Never stir up litigation. A worse man can scarcely be found than one who does this. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his law partner, William Herndon. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of peace. He argued that it is wrong to stir up conflict, and that we should always try to resolve our differences peacefully. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved, I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing, or all the other. This quote is from Lincoln's first inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the future of the United States. He argued that the Union will either survive or it will not, but it will not remain divided. 77 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. This is the opening line of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, which was delivered in 1863. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the ideals of the Declaration of Independence, which promises that all people are created equal. It is rather for us here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. This quote is also from the Gettysburg Address. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that the sacrifices of the soldiers who died in the Civil War should not be in vain. He argued that the living must continue to fight for the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. I have been solicited by my friends to become a candidate for the legislature. My politics are short and sweet, like the old woman's dance. I am for the people, and against the privileged classes. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed in 1855. It is a statement of Lincoln's political beliefs. He argued that he is a politician who represents the interests of the common people, and that he is opposed to the privileged classes. Illinois surpasses every other spot of equal extent upon the face of the globe in fertility of soil and in the proportionable amount of the same which is sufficiently level for actual cultivation. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the potential of Illinois. He argued that Illinois is a land of opportunity, and that it has the potential to be a great state. Repeal the Missouri Compromise, repeal all compromises, repeal the Declaration of Independence, repeal all past history, you still cannot repeal human nature. It will be the abundance of man's heart that slavery extension is wrong, and out of the abundance of his heart, his mouth will continue to speak. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1858. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief that slavery is wrong. He argued that no matter how many laws are passed to support slavery, it will never be right. Standing as I do, with my hand upon this staff, and under the folds of the American flag, I ask you to stand by me so long as I stand by it. This quote is from Lincoln's first inaugural address. It is a statement of Lincoln's commitment to the Union. He argued that he will do whatever it takes to preserve the Union, and he asked for the support of the American people. The people will save their government, if the government itself will allow them. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed in 1859. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the power of the people. He argued that the people are the ultimate rulers of the country, and that they will not allow their government to be taken away from them. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. This quote is from a speech that Lincoln gave in 1864. It is a statement of Lincoln's belief in the importance of human values. He argued that gold is not as important as the love of country, bravery, and patriotism. If ever I feel the soul within me elevate and expand to those dimensions not wholly unworthy of its almighty architect, it is when I contemplate the cause of my country, deserted by all the world beside, and I standing up boldly and lone and hurling defiance at her victorious oppressors. This quote is from a letter that Lincoln wrote to his friend Joshua Speed in 1862. It is a statement of Lincoln's determination to preserve the Union. He argued that he is willing to stand alone against the world in order to protect the United States.